Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to our podcast. And thank you very much for the feedback that we keep on receiving. Please keep it coming so that we can improve our podcast. As I said earlier, for those new people who are watching for the first time, our objective is to inform in an entertaining and interesting way of what is really going on behind the scenes within Joburg South. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you'll know that the biggest issue in most parts of Joburg South have been the water crisis, an absolute humanitarian crisis that our councils have been working flat out to try and resolve. And this week we got another small victory, if you like, where we got the mayor to come to Joburg South to actually, for himself, have a look. Our invisible mayor has finally appeared this week. Have a look for himself at what is going on with the water crisis, the reservoirs, and the various issues that take place. And so we went off with the mayor and interacted with the mayor and, of course, continued to have lots of promises. There's been a slight improvement since the last few weeks, since we've been putting on the pressure, and since the minister came to our constituency last week, where we're trying to get as many of the households back to full water availability. Unfortunately, it's the higher lying areas that are suffering simply because of gravity, and so we're pushing very hard that this gets resolved and the pressure will continue. I received an interesting interaction from a resident who was saying that all the problems in Joburg, because of all the problems in Joburg and everything that's going on, they won't be voting DA. I can't understand that logic. So the ANC corrupt coalition are running the city, but you're going to reward them by not voting DA. It just doesn't make sense. The city of Joburg is not governed by the DA or any coalition where the DA is involved. And again, I challenge, as I have in previous podcasts, name me one example of a badly run DA government. And I haven't been able to receive one. There's a lot of nonsense out there about all sorts of allegations that simply aren't true about the DA and individuals in the DA, but all of it is propaganda and it's absolute rubbish. And until they can provide proof, please beware of what you, and be very skeptical of what you read and see in the media. And another interaction, another email I received, is someone was saying that they won't be voting for any of the other main parties, but they'll be voting for one of the smaller parties. And I then said, but why are you then coming to the DA councillors? If your party that you choose to support, which is fine, it's your democratic right, and you feel they can do a better job, why are you not going to the councillor of that smaller party? And so what I did is I provided the details of that councillor and asked the resident, now you go and see if that councillor will do what DA councillors are doing or what we're doing to fight for better working conditions, restoration of water, electricity, and everything that needs to be done. You go to that smaller party and you get those councillors to do what the DA is doing. And I'll challenge you that to find any of those councillors that would do even 50% of what DA councillors are doing. So besides the excitement or very sad news, the constant fighting that we continue to do in Joburg South, in particular water, which is the big issue at the time, I'd like to talk about our launch of our posters. You would have seen our team out in the street putting up our posters. As usual, we're the first party to put it up. It's our election posters, and it's in fact our registration posters. That encourage people to register. Now, I've been talking about this for a few weeks now, and I've been asking people that if you have not registered, in other words, if you're already registered and you are in the same address that you have been all along since the last election, then you don't have to do anything, because once you register for life. And the only time that you change that is when you change your physical address. So if you are one of those people, then please go ahead and come and meet us over the weekend. There are a variety of opportunities that you'll be able to interact with myself and the councillors over the weekend. Come through, come meet us, and bring your ID with you, and we can get you registered there and then. Either as a first-time person as a first-time person to be registered, we will help you. It literally takes a few minutes, not even very long. Or if you have a change of address and you need to re-register, come through. We're going to be available throughout the south of Joburg every weekend, and as always, tomorrow, come through, join myself, join our councillors in getting registered, signing our petitions on the various campaigns that we're fighting, such as this crazy over-the-top petrol increase, which is more robbing by the state of the taxpayer. And we're encouraging you to come through, sign our petitions, have a chat to us, get registered, and it's a great opportunity to meet us as well. So as I said, we have been putting up our posters, and officially the first poster went up and was flighted by our federal leader of the DA. And so I want to just play you a clip of how important it is to register, and the difference between Joburg and the state that Joburg is in at the moment, and, for example, other DA-led cities. Let's take a listen.
We launched the poster here today in Johannesburg in Bree Street because the municipal governance in a place like Johannesburg has come to epitomize what South Africans are receiving on a daily basis across the length and breadth of South Africa. Streets that are literally exploding, rubbish that's not collected, opportunities being killed, jobs being destroyed, and governance that's failing the people as it continues to serve the politicians and not the people. But the rot and the extent of the failure doesn't begin and end in Johannesburg. I've spent the last 4 months on the road visiting small town South Africa in a variety of provinces. And everywhere I've traveled, the story is the same. Citizens locked out of opportunity with municipalities that don't care, that don't spend money on the people, that spend money on the projects that make the politicians wealthy and the connected incredibly rich, but leave the poor excluded and behind. And my message to South Africa is it doesn't have to be this way. That working together, we can build a new majority in South Africa. Working together, we can build and make sure you have a government that can serve all the people of this beautiful country. South Africa is a wonderful place. South Africans are incredible people. We just have a government that's working against us, not together with us, to get the country onto the next trajectory. Just this week, while in Mpumalanga, I saw firsthand how RDP houses built for the poor are falling down literally around people's ears. We were able to hand over a house in Mpumalanga to a family who had been living in one of these RDP houses. What should have been the pride of home ownership came to a crashing end when their house literally collapsed in upon them. And we were able to give them back their dignity. But we need to now do the same across South Africa. We need to be able to send a clear message to South Africans that if you're tired of corruption, if you're tired of load shedding, if you're tired of your job being put onto short time, you're tired of looking for work every single day, that there is hope for a better future. Because for the first time in 30 years, the outcome of this next election is not a foregone conclusion. And the power will lie with those who are registered to be able to change the trajectory of South Africa forever. And as Sibiwe said, 1994 was our election for freedom. But 2024 is going to be our election to save and rescue South Africa from the clutches of this government that has stopped caring about the people on the ground. And everywhere I've traveled, people are desperate for this change. They're filled with hope that there is a pathway to victory now, and that parties are coming together to form a new majority in this country. But there is also a group of people in South Africa who I want to speak to specifically today. And those are the people who are not registered, mainly young people between the ages of 18 to 35. The frustration, the endless broken promises, the promises that things are going to get better, but they get worse every day. The promises that you'll be kept safe when 76 members of our citizenry die every single day. The promise that you're going to get a job when jobs evaporate. The promise that finally there'll be clean, accountable government evaporates every single day. And we see there's not even enough money in government to prosecute those who've been found guilty by the Zondo Commission. So all of these promises of the new dawn that were promised by Cyril Ramaphosa have faded away like the morning mist in the deep sun, the harsh sun of nepotism, corruption, maladministration, and greedy politicians and elites who lock you out of opportunity, who lock you out of an ability to build a better future for you and your family. So my message to you today is that load shedding, water shedding, water shortages are all an indication that while you may not be interested in politics, politics is very interested in you, and it affects every aspect of your life, from the tap you put on in the morning to whether you've got electricity in your home or your business, the state of the road that you travel to work if you're one of the lucky South Africans to have a job, the quality of public transport as people desperately look for work across South Africa, whether the factory in which you hope to find work was able to operate because of electricity shortages or not, or whether the school in which your child is learning, you're getting a decent education in an environment where 82% of grade 4 learners cannot read for meaning. What chance do they have in a world already filled with 65% youth unemployment? What chance do they have in a world where technology and machines are starting to develop in magnificent ways? We need to prepare our young people for the future. What chance do you have when NSFAS funding is cut off and children and our university students are unable to get the education they need to help build our country? My answer to you is simple. The answer lies in your vote. You can throw stones, you can toy, you can hold up placards, but the most powerful weapon that you have to effect change in our beautiful country is that vote that you will use on election day. But you will only have a vote if you're registered to vote. So there's no such thing anymore in South Africa as I'm not interested in politics. You better get interested in politics because it is very interested in you. There's a further group of 14 million South Africans who are registered to vote but did not exercise that vote in the last 2 elections. And my message to you is similar. South Africa needs you. The South African people need you. And our children's future needs you now more than ever before. You have to be an active participant and you have to vote for change. Not voting is a vote of confidence in the status quo. It means you're happy with an unemployment situation where half of our people in this country remain unemployed. It means you're happy with the terrible quality of education that our children are receiving. It means that you're happy with blowing up roads, with water outages and electricity that's off. It means you're happy with corruption that is robbing you and your family of an opportunity. And it means that you're happy that government treats grant recipients in this country with absolute disdain to the point where they go to Post Bank and their grants are not in their account. So we need every citizen to be part of pushing the hinge of history in the right direction, to make sure it opens the door of opportunity. It opens many, many more possibilities for all of our people in South Africa. If we don't all stand together shoulder to shoulder and push against that hinge of history to make sure it opens the door, it's going to shut the door on all of us. We will have a failed state where there's no money to provide grants. We will have a failed state where service delivery gets even worse. We will have a failed state where politicians will continue to live in mansions while our people live in abject poverty every single day. It means our cities will continue to pile up with litter and filth and degradation, the likes of which we see behind us here today. But the message is one of hope, because we don't come to curse the darkness. We're here today to light a candle for South Africans. And those posters behind me are the clarion call to every citizen that now is the time to join hands. It doesn't matter your race, it doesn't matter your religion, it doesn't matter whether you live in an urban area or a rural area. It doesn't matter the language that you speak. Now is the time to stand shoulder to shoulder to rescue South Africa and build a better future. I know that when South Africans stand together to achieve something, nothing and nobody can stand in the way of us succeeding. So South Africa, let's unite and let's rescue this beautiful country of ours. It is a wonderful place. Our people are innovative. They want to work. They want to build a future, and together they want to build a country. So let's unite and make that dream a reality. Together, there's nothing that we cannot achieve. Viva South Africa, viva! In this election, only the registered have the power. If you're tired of load shedding, register to vote. If you're tired of corruption, register to vote. If you're tired of the rising cost of living, register to vote. And if you're tired of a government that's continuously working against you, register to vote. Go to check.da.org.za and let's give power to the registered.